I'm one of the respiratory therapists here at Horizon Oxygen and Medical Equipment. Today I'm going to be showing you how to use and operate the Airvo 2. The Airvo 2 is a high-flow vaporized humidification system that can provide a precise FiO2 or oxygen concentration level to our patient. So having all three of those features built into one machine that we can provide to a patient in the home setting is pretty revolutionary. So we're very excited to be able to offer this to our hospice patients. Kind of walk you around the machine first. If you'll see on the very front of the machine, there's a humidifier chamber there, just kind of like how our CPAPs or BiPAPs do, or our concentrators have those humidifier chambers. Same thing that we're going to utilize here. It's a little different because it uses a vaporized humidification system. It's just to be able to tolerate those high amounts of flow. Then a bulk of the machine, kind of what you see back here, is the flow generator. Now on the Airvo, we can provide up to 60 liters per minute of flow to a patient. And then not only that, I mentioned kind of earlier that we can provide a precise FiO2 or oxygen concentration level to a patient. And so right on the side of the machine there corresponds to where we would set up our oxygen source or oxygen tubing. The first part that we have to do is that we have a power source. Obviously we need to plug the machine in. So we'll plug that in to a wall outlet or a power strip, as long as it has a surge protector on it. We want to make sure that there's no issues with power coming back to the machine. And then we have to finish setting up our machine. So we have power on and off, an alarm silence button, buttons that can change some of our settings, and as well as a play menu setting. At the very top here is where we connect our tubing. Our tubing looks pretty similar to our CPAP and BiPAP tubing. It's kind of a corrugated flexible tubing. You'll notice that there's little wires inside the tubing. This keeps the tubing heated. That way we can maintain whatever temperature we set in the machine, we can maintain that all the way to the patient. So in order to keep that tubing heated, we have to have an electrical system for that. So we'll correspond the top of that tubing to the top of the machine there. You can kind of see that little spot. So if we look at the top of our tubing, we can kind of see where it matches up. So we have the electrical probes right here at the top. It corresponds with the electrical inlet for the tubing here. So we'll slide this right over the top, inserting those probes inside that inlet, and then we cover that. And then we have an interface. Now, we can use this for most patients. They're going to utilize what's called the OptiFlow. There's a small, medium, and large, or a red one, or excuse me, an orange one, a blue one, and a green one. The changing in size is based on the size of the prong to the patient. So this OptiFlow fits perfectly with the end of the tubing that comes with the Airvo. So we'll slide those in together, that snaps into place, and then we can put this onto the patient. When we're ready to start the machine, we're going to go to the power on and off button, which is right here. So when we first turn the machine on, it'll tell you who the manufacturer is. In this case, it's Fisher & Paykel, and then it'll tell us the Airvo 2, and then it'll let us know the last disinfection date. If you ever see a red light there, it's time for this machine to be maintenance. So it's important for you to let us know that, and we can swap this machine out. But before we do any setup, we always disinfect the machine before we deliver it, and we of course also set whatever settings we receive from the physician. Now this machine always takes a minute or two to warm up, so it's important just to give it enough time. It'll show a little circle that's spinning around, so you know it's thinking, and eventually it'll show this screen. You'll see a temperature setting, you'll see a liter flow setting, and finally you'll see the amount of oxygen being given to the patient. In order for us to change any of those settings, we'd have to hit this little play menu. So we hit this play button, and we can change either the temperature. If we want to change that, all you have to do is hold both up and down arrows at the same time, and you'll see that this unlocks that, and we can adjust those settings by 3 up or down, from 31 degrees Celsius all the way up to 37. When you're ready to select that setting, you just hit that play button again, and it locks it into place. To go to the next item, if you wanted to change the flow, you're going to do the same process. You're gonna hit hold the up and down arrow in place, and here we can change our liter flow. And again, we can go from all the way from 10 all the way up to 60 if we want to. It goes in increments of 5. So 60 is our maximum flow rate that we can provide. Once you've locked that into place, you hit play again, it shows that it's locked. And finally, in order to adjust our oxygen percentage, we have to insert an oxygen source. To go back to the main menu, you just hit play, and it'll show you everything that's being provided to the patient. Once we reach all the desired settings, you'll see this green check mark, and that's letting you know that everything is running functional and everything that was set into the machine is being provided to the patient. Probably the biggest challenge or hurdle for some people utilizing this machine in the home is that they have a hard time adding water to the humidifier chamber. So let's go over how that works. On the front of the machine, there's a little slide. If we push that down and hold it, we can actually slide this whole piece out. So that takes a little bit of dexterity with your hands. You're gonna have to be able to hold the slide down with one finger and then slide the whole humidifier chamber out. But once you do it once or twice, it's really easy. Whenever we're setting this up, we always make sure that there's somebody there that understands how to do that. Just like on any other humidifier chamber, there's a maximum fill line that's represented right here with this top black line there. And actually to add water to it's pretty simple. There's only 2 holes here. You just pour distilled water right into the top. If you have a patient utilizing this, they need to add more water, all you gotta do, you can leave the machine running. You detach this, quickly pour water into the humidifier chamber, and then you bring this right back. You hold the whole humidifier in place and slide it in until it snaps into place. You shouldn't have to access this because this is something that we're gonna take responsibility for, but there is a filter in the back of the machine. Something that does happen occasionally is people actually snag this part of the filter. So on the back, you'll see that if you just pinch down this little lever here, we can access that filter. And the filter looks just like this, and you can actually peel this off. So every 3 to 6 months, just depends on how many hours of use, we replace this filter. But if ever comes detached or they ever knock this off, all they have to do, we can help with that if they need it, but all they have to do is bring this filter back, insert it right to the back, it kind of locks into place, and then you take the cover and it snaps back on. Now remember, on the side of the machine is our oxygen tubing. Attached right now, I have an example of a 7-foot tubing. We always want to keep our oxygen tubing as short as possible to the patient, to this machine and to the patient. The longer that we have this oxygen tubing flowing from our source, which is typically a concentrator or multiple concentrators, the more likelihood there's to be developed of back pressure to that concentrator. So some people don't like having the concentrators in the room. We understand that, but we want to try and keep those items as close together as possible. So try to keep it 7 feet, but we can never go more than 25 feet of oxygen tubing between the concentrator or oxygen source to the machine. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this demonstration helped answer any questions that you might have had. One of the reasons why we're putting these videos together is not only for nurses, but also for patients and their families. We know on the day of admission, it's a lot of information coming from you from multiple different angles. And so it's easy to forget some of the small details when learning how to operate some of these machines. So we hope this answers those questions for you, that you have a resource to go to. Now, if you still have any further questions, even after watching this video, you still have questions that you need answered, you can always call us at our main line. Really, our sole purpose is to be a blessing to you. So if you still need help, hands-on support, we can send a patient service technician to you to help you.